Hello, everybody. I have such exciting news today. We've got our friend Liz, the TikTok queen, who is now the YouTube queen on the show, back on the channel. Liz just told me right before we went live, or right before I started recording, we're not live, this is pre-recorded, that she had opened up a YouTube channel, which I'm going to be putting that link down in the description box below. You don't have any videos up yet, right?
Nope. After I do this one when my son naps, I will be making like a little intro video and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep it semi-short. We're not gonna do like hour conversations other than like what I do with Brice and other people. But I just, felt like TikTok was a little bit limiting because you only get the max 3 minutes. So there's things I want to go a little bit deeper into, in whatever way I can, because there's plenty of
you'll learn. I think most of us on YouTube, we've become really good spellers.
Yeah,
we have to spell a lot. It's like a spelling bee. Very creative with our how we work around certain things, but of course I'll help you as well. And of course sometimes I'll go through videos and block words out if we need to. And I know our viewers understand, because we can't control that, and it literally frustrates us too. We have no control over what they're doing. Obviously that's something we're fighting against. We don't believe in that kind of action taken towards people where they have to be silenced. But this is the world, this is the timeline that we're in right now, and we're all here for a reason. Now, Liz, you haven't been on the channel in a while because you've had a little bit of an adventure, haven't you?
Oh yeah. I've had lots going on in life. But I just recently took a trip to England to see my sister, my brother-in-law, and my nephews. I had a nephew that I hadn't even met yet because he was born November of 2021.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait, no, that was last, no, 2020. It
all runs together.
Yeah, it does, honestly. So something happened. I actually ended up having a miscarriage that kind of like completely turned my world and my husband's world upside down. And my sister was very much like, I think you need to get away, and be around family. Because I mean, as a stay-at-home mom, you're just very isolated. I mean, it's like that age that my toddler's in right now that, he doesn't understand like social things, and you can't just scream everywhere. And, it's just kind of hard to go to coffee shops or just meet friends or hang out or whatever. And he's very, very attached to me. I say he's an aggressive mama's boy.
Cute.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best and the worst at the same time.
Well, I mean, he's still a baby too, even though he's a toddler. I consider that still to be a baby.
Yet. Oh, get this. His birthday, his second birthday, is on February 22nd, 2022. Isn't that Pluto does something? That's a very like astrological big day.
Very auspicious.
People keep talking about it, and I was like, my son was born on that day. He's going to be 2 on that day. He just made a big noise. Anyways, but yeah, so I ended up going to England, spending a month there. And before we get questions, no, you do not have to have that to go there. You just have to take the test.
Yeah.
Which there's plenty of ways around that anyways. So I spent a month there with my sister and my nephews, which was awesome. I believe I got to meet them. I got to heal in a way. Something literally shifted in me when I was there. More so like I didn't realize till I came back. But I was talking to Brice about this, like texting her the other day, and as she said, she was like, "You've been activated," and I was like, "Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I feel on top of the world." You want to say hi? You want to show the car?
Hey, handsome man! Look at that.
Say hi.
Hi, you're a traveling buddy, aren't you?
Yep, he's already a world traveler.
How did he do in England? Did you have fun with your cousins?
He said yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun, and it was good for him to just be around other kids and family, and he got a little less attached, which is great. Yeah, and I mean, I would not recommend traveling internationally with a toddler by yourself. would never recommend it to anyone. You have to be a little bit insane, but I was feeling insane anyways from my world kind of crumbling down. So I was like, it can't really get much worse than this. So
let's do it.
Yeah, might as well.
We'll keep bringing it. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So cute. You've grown since I saw you last.
Yeah, he's huge. He's gotten a haircut and everything because
you're looking more like a little boy.
Yeah. Is that a truck? He really is proud of this. He like
I like your truck. That is a really awesome truck. I wish I had a truck like that.
Yeah.
You're a very lucky little boy.
Pretty cool. Cool. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it. He had a full down meltdown at TSA, so much so that
you know what? I've had full down meltdowns at TSA too. So
yeah, it sounded like I was kidnapping him, and it was like it was very traumatizing for both of us. Yeah, it was. But even so, that the TSA agents came and was like, give me your passport, follow me, like to cut me in line to get me through it because he just was not moving.
Thank God for kind people who understand.
Right. Yeah, thank God.
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, it was kind of one of those things of like getting out of your comfort zone and doing something that's harder makes everything else easier.
Yeah.
Because just even as a mom, I feel very much like I can handle it. Like it's not that big a deal, you know, kind of vibe now. I like just parenting in general and like dealing with him in social atmospheres isn't as big of a deal anymore, which is really nice because I had a lot of social anxiety being a parent. But yeah, it was really, I say it was life-changing because I got to get out of my normal atmosphere, normal routine. I got to be bored, which has not happened forever. And just got to spend some quality time with my sister, which, you know, she lives in England. So I haven't seen her since Levi was born when she came here right before lockdown. Yeah, so I got to create and heal in a lot of different ways. And I mean, I just feel like it was just really important for my specific journey, everything that's happened in the last couple of months. Yeah, it's been...
You definitely had what they call in the tarot card, the tower moment, where everything kind of fell apart.
Seriously. Okay, yeah. I like the whole time I was there, I kept feeling like towards the end of the trip, I kept hearing in my head, this is your tower moment. This is your tower moment. And I like don't even, I mean, I watched Janine. Yeah. But other than that, I don't really like dive into tarot at all, but I just know from what she says, like I kind of have a gist of it. And I just kept seeing myself like actually having my moment and like being me for the first time ever, which I've never felt so confident and so like okay and like proud of myself ever, and just like actually liking who I am. And like I have the thought, I was like, I don't know why I like keep myself quiet. Like I'm so cool. I don't know.
You are cool. You are cool.
I think about things. I was like, the way I think about things, like I'm being selfish, not sharing like the way I think and like, you know, just like the aspects of myself that I've hidden from people for my entire life because of, you know, like just the way I grew up and like past traumas and whatever. But like, yeah, something literally shifted in me while I was there. And I was just like, I'm the coolest ever. Like, I need to share this with the world.
Yeah.
Why am I hiding myself?
No, and I will say this to you, and I don't want to like, you know, for people watching right now, I mean, Liz, you're like 10 years younger than me, you know, and I know for me at my age, putting yourself out there like you have, like I have to take a stand and to be kind of on the front line of this WAR that we're in right now. That takes a lot. It takes a lot. I mean, there have been many nights where I have gone to bed crying. I've been upset, especially in the beginning with the trolls, with the losing friends, you know, and then to continue to get up every day and take a deep breath and keep putting yourself out there to stand up for what's right. It takes a lot. And I know that I've laughed with people off camera before that we're all going to need therapy when this is done. Because I think we're all kind of running on some PTSD right now, but we just keep going and keep going. And so you deserve to take a moment to step back and look how cool you are, that you are a young mom. You're, you know, and you put yourself out there. I mean, your TikTok, what number TikTok are you on now?
The fourth
one. They keep knocking and you just keep getting right back up. And now you're like, fuck it, I'm going to put myself on YouTube too. Right. You know, and I will say though, from this point, like 2 years, when I first started my channel, like 2 years ago, the pushback has gotten less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
But you know, and you're freaking cool. And I think that a lot of us that are always thought a little bit differently than the mainstream. And therefore we did kind of shut ourselves down a little bit to not like freak people out. But now we're learning that what was perceived as weird is actually true.
Yeah.
And we need each other.
I feel like my whole thing, most of my life was like, in my family, it was just taught like, you know, you don't ever want to be wrong. And I feel like going through, I mean, I've kind of been on this journey, this like discovering that everything that we've been told is a lie, you know, for the last almost 10 years now. But I feel like, especially this past 2 years, now that everybody's kind of getting on board with like, oh, everything that we've ever known is a lie. It's like, you know, there's so much more grace to be okay with being wrong, because we all are wrong, you know? And it's like, I might believe something today and tomorrow I might not, you know, it changes, it ever evolves. And I'm okay with being like, yeah, I used to believe that. I don't anymore. I believe something different, you know?
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's what's supposed to happen, because that means you're ever, you know, you're growing and evolving. And I just was never okay with like saying what I actually thought because of the fear of actually being wrong. And we all are wrong.
Right.
Because we're not perfected. We're not like these crazy, like, you know, eternal, whatever light beings yet.
No.
And until we are, we're wrong.
And we were born
some kind of lie.
We were born with a cloak, with a veil placed over us. And so, you know, and I agree with you, because a lot of what I do on my channel is research into different storylines and different historical things that happen, but it's more to have a conversation. And I'm okay with being wrong about things, but I want to show my research and have people comment back so we can at least try to figure out something, try to figure out some sense. And the more that you kind of, I think, live in this area of, I don't know, and I could be wrong, the more open you are to growing and expanding and evolving. You know, when you shut yourself down and you think you have all the answers, that's when you're never going to grow, change, and evolve. And it's something with the tower moment too. My friend Cindy says this: sometimes in order to ascend, you have to descend first.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You have to die. You can't kill a dead man.
No. You have to, what's that Janis Joplin song? Bobby McGee, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
There you go. Yeah. We were talking about this at the home group I go to. I love the home group I go to on Sundays. I don't go to church anymore. I go to a home group, but we all are very like-minded. And we were talking about the whole like doubting Thomas story. And I was saying that, you know, the church has portrayed it as doubting Thomas, like he had less faith than everyone else, but he didn't have the experience that everyone else had. And what, baby? And in like religious, you know, systems, it's taught that you should never doubt and question things. You should just blindly believe and follow. And that is the issue.
Yeah, that's how we got to where we are. Yeah.
And like the times in my life where I have doubted have been the most like launching periods of my life that have moved me into this new paradigm. Like when my friend was saying that, she's like, I feel like the reason why you start doubting things that you once believed was because that box you no longer fit into, and it's almost like you're just expanding your box, you know, and you keep expanding and keep expanding. And it's almost like a symbol of, that lens isn't right for you anymore. And I was like, I love that. That's great, because literally I remember when I was 18, right before I moved to LA, I was at a church conference and I remember thinking, like, if this is all there is, I'm out. Like, I grew up in churches, like, that was very much into the prophetic, very charismatic. Like, we were, like, the free different ones of, like, religions. And, like, people danced and worship and, like, very charismatic and creative. And prophecy was a thing and whatnot. And, I'm sorry, he's distracting. I'm like kind of.
He's fine. He's fine.
Trying to make a slide. But yeah, I remember thinking, like, if this is it, like, this is boring. I'm bored of this. Like, and then I, questioned that and then moved to LA and got introduced to, like, what I call, like, kingdom principles and kingdom mindedness and, like, spirituality and all that kind of stuff. And it set me up for these last 10 years of, like, completely questioning everything that I've ever been taught, religious wise, politically, and, like, even in Hollywood, because I moved to LA to become an actress. And
good thing that never happened.
I was listening to you and Stephanie talk, and Taylor, the other day, and you guys were pulling cards for people. And she was saying that she was, like, trying to become a singer, and she, like, kind of blocked herself. And I literally feel like I've done that my entire life. Like, there was a reason I wanted to sing, act, dance. Like, that was my thing. And, I was, like, so set on it. But, like, there was something in me that I kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen when I wanted it to happen, if at all. And I for sure feel like my higher self blocked it from happening for a reason. And I'm very happy it didn't happen, because now I'm kind of like, I love acting and I love being creative and everything, but it's channeled in a different way now. What?
And I apologize, guys. I'm going to keep muting myself because we're doing some yard work outside. I hope you guys can't hear that. That's very loud. But I agree. And I think God also protected you as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There was a protection, because when you go about these careers, there's an innocence. You don't realize how corrupt they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was a very insecure. I mean, I kind of discovered that one of the only reasons I wanted to become an actress was because I knew that I could get attention that way, because I didn't feel like I got enough attention as a child. So I, like, discovered that, in my past couple of years, and I was like, wow, do I still want to do it? Like, I still love it. Like, it's fun to me. But I wouldn't do it for the same reasons anymore. I'd love to tell stories in that way, but like, I'm not going to do
for the
it.
art, not for the attention. Isn't that interesting? Right, exactly. That you were able to have that self-reflection? I think a lot of people, I mean, not everybody who moves into entertainment is that way. I understand that, but there are a lot of people that move into entertainment for that purpose, to try to fulfill a need that maybe they were void of as their childhood. And how mature is that to actually, like, recognize that? Because that desperation, I feel like that type of desperation is what gets people into trouble in Hollywood. And you guys know what we're talking about, but they'll do anything for to feel that love, because that's all, we all just want to feel loved. We all just want to feel valued. And the matrix system that we've been living under in the age of Pisces definitely has a hierarchy of that. And I don't know what the new earth is going to look like, because we're only conditioned to understand the matrix. But that's exciting to know that we're coming into a time where people can feel that acceptance, hopefully, as they start to evolve too, because it's not, this whole ascension idea. It's not that the white hats or, Mr. T or the Kennedys or whatever are going to do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. We have to heal ourselves. We have to do the work. And sometimes God will allow tower moments so that you can actually have a reckoning within yourself and realize how badass you actually are. And do you think a lot of that too comes, Elizabeth, because you and I both are from the South. Do you think a lot of that also comes from being a female raised in the South and the expectations upon us and how we're supposed to be?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was also just my mom did the best she could to try to not raise us the way that she was raised. But in the same respect, it was still like a lingering thing. And like even just the pressure of just like looking a certain way and like being skinny. I mean, I like very much connected with that, industry, because it was very similar to the way I grew up, of just being like, you're never good enough, ever. And it wasn't until, and even just moving to LA, the fact of all of my friends were older than all of my sisters. And all of my sisters, I have 2 sisters, but they were older than me by at least 5-6 years. And they never acted like I was less than. And that's a very Southern thing, is whoever's older than you is who's your authority, and who you answer to. And you can't ever question anyone older than you. And I'm just like, just because you're older doesn't mean you've learned anything. Like, I look at some of my family and I'm like, they spend their time watching TV, like literally 24/7. I spend my time trying to grow and better myself as much as I can.
There's some old people out there with some really bad ideas, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, just even the fact of just having friends that were older than me that respected me as a peer. Yeah. Very much helped my mindset, because I've always been kind of an old soul anyways. And so I've always had friends that were older. And I mean, like some of my closest friends now, like one of my closest friends is the leader of the home group I go to, and she is 60. So it's just kind of like, it's like, I feel like I can relate to people of all ages, and I was never allowed to growing up. Right. Because, if you're older, then you tell the younger people what to do. And they are, it's like the whole, like, children should be seen, not heard kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing down here in the South. Children should be seen, not heard. Yeah. Yeah.
I literally lingered over my entire life, and I realized how much like my throat chakra was blocked. And from just like that being pounded into me. Like I even used to, when I would talk in front of anybody or knew that anybody would be listening to me, even when I started doing these videos with you, I would have like a very rattly, shaky voice, because I just knew that people would listen, people would hear what I had to say, and it terrified me, because you're not supposed to be listened to, you're not supposed to really say anything. And I feel like that, like you said, is very much being a part of a woman in the South too. Like, just shut up and serve your husband.
I mean, we were told, only speak if you're spoken to. Like that was kind of, and my mother was, so we know we're not blaming, they were raised that way, and there is different like subcultures in the South, but in like, I hate to say it this way, but like in the white South, that's very much children are seen, not heard. So only speak when you're spoken to. I've laughed a lot about like always having mascara and lipstick on. You always need to be pleasant. We were taught that we had to go to college, get our degrees, but then get married. And the only reason why we needed a degree was to be educated, but yet we would be expected to be like a homemaker, even though we would probably have a housekeeper, all these different, like, it's all about the presentation. And you think about the South, and that's one thing I love about the South too, because you think about Southern living, these magazines, these beautiful Southern homes. I mean, growing up, we weren't allowed to put like posters on our wall in our bedroom. We had paintings on the wall in the bedroom. It was very much a very, and I'm so grateful that I had this beautiful home I grew up in, but that's very much part of that Southern thing. And I'll tell you, Liz, like, I know for me, like I can struggle with getting a little too thin sometimes, but I also have I know I have body dysmorphic disorder. I know that I've struggled with that kind of stuff, because there is such a high expectation on the presentation. I know it's probably in every culture. But that's definitely something that I think a lot of women do struggle with. And I know people have laughed at me before because I'll say that and they're like, oh, but you always are on the thin side. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you have body morphic disorder, what you perceive of yourself is not how you actually are. And so I get that. Like, I totally get that. You know, it sucks. And hopefully as we do move into a new timeline, we'll be able to kind of work past those things.
Yeah. I can even see in myself how it's changing. Like being in England, you know, I was just like, I'm not trying to lose weight. You know, I'm in another country, I'm on vacation kind of thing. I wasn't like pigging out or anything, but I ended up actually losing weight because I wasn't even focused on it. It was like I came back and people told me, they're like, you were smaller, and I was like, yeah, I think I am, you know. And it's just like, even like I'm literally a size 6, and that's kind of like the smallest. Actually, I've been a size 4, but that was when I was working out a ton. But I've told you, like, I am like so full of muscle that like the numbers on the scale do not add up to like the size that I am. And for so long, I always was like overweight for my height or whatever. But like, it's like, as I've gotten older, I've just like not cared and just been like, you know, why does it matter what size I am? I'm still me. I'm still me no matter what size I am. Like, I definitely think that your body is a reflection of your inner world. And I think that it's kind of like a roadmap for your healing. But
it's also not you. It's not you. Yeah, it's your avatar. That's a huge yoga. That's a huge principle of the yoga philosophy, is that your body is nature, but your soul is eternal. And your body is it's just like a GPS system. That's all it is. And I, you know, and it's so funny because when I was 27 years old, I threw scales away. I don't weigh myself at all. And I'll be 39 in a couple of weeks. So for almost 12 years now, I have not actually weighed myself. When I go to the doctor, I tell them not to say what I weigh, but I grew up, you know, my mother was always exercising growing up. She was always doing like the Richard Simmons jazzercise and
right.
You know, always on these different diets. So that was always something that was talked about in our house. And I think a lot of people grew up with that. And so when I actually lived in Los Angeles too for a while after college, and I remember getting obsessed with like weighing myself because it was such a big, and even though I was thin, it was such a big thing. And when I moved back to Atlanta, I threw my scales away because I was like, this is not healthy.
Yeah, it's not
healthy.
I honestly like didn't weigh myself for a long time, but then once I got pregnant, they told me that I needed to, and I had a midwife, so it's kind of confusing, the fact that she was so she wasn't that focused on it, but at the same time, like, they measure like how much the baby is growing by your weight. And you know, I had gestational diabetes, so I had to eat like I was training for the Olympics. It was awful. Like, you don't want to be pregnant and have to eat bland salmon, brown rice, and broccoli. Like, that's not what you want to eat when you're pregnant. And so I had to like be very focused on it. So it kind of put me back in that place of like being focused on weight again. And also I hadn't been working out and everything. So I was like back into it again. And I'm slowly starting to get back out of it because I'm like, it's not that important. Like, as long as I fit into the clothes that I want to wear, I'm good, you know. But it's one of those continuous journeys because it was so, like, my entire life was always about, like, literally always about, you know, like, I was on a diet when I was 10. Like always dieting, always striving to be smaller. And I even think that that's a part of the corrupt matrix system that we're in. Like, women shrinking themselves all the time. Like, whether you're shrinking yourself to be quiet and just stay like a silent little mouse, pleasing, you know, whoever's around you. Or, you know, you're shrinking in size so you don't take up too much space, because as a woman, you can't take up too much space or else you're not womanly or whatever. And I'm just like, we were designed with curves. We were designed to get bigger when we grow life. Like, Like, we're designed to take up space, and I'm okay with taking up space now. Like,
Good.
I used to try to not take up space. And it's just like, there's so many things that have just been like revealed after one after another with me. Like, even talking too loud. Like, I would never talk too loud. Just, I would never be comfortable taking up space. And like, I'm realizing that now. And it's so much more powerful to be like, I'm here to take up space. That is the purpose of having a physical body.
Yeah.
So me not doing that is literally going against everything I was created to do. Like, it just is.
Well, this is the Age of Aquarius. This is like the we've been learning more and more and more that the whole point of this timeline flip is more the rise of the Magdalene, because it's the balancing of the divine feminine with the divine masculine. The divine masculine was never supposed to be here and the divine feminine here. The Magdalene and Jesus, Yahshua, they were the Christ consciousness together.
Right.
They were together in that. And I agree with you, because, it comes to like, as a woman, especially growing up down in the South, we're taught that we will be our husband's partner, and that we are to be subservient to our husband. And so sometimes it's almost like you get this perception of yourself that your only value comes if you're desirable to a man.
Right. Exactly. That's a huge one.
Pregnant and your body it's going to change. Hello, and I'm not a fan of the book Eat, Pray, Love, guys. I'm not a fan of the book. I'm not a fan of the movie, but there's a line in the movie that she says to one of the girls when she's in Italy about eating, and she goes, "Have you ever been kicked out of a bed because you had a muffin top?
Yeah.
Has a man ever kicked you out?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "Exactly. A man kicked you out because you have a muffin top."
Right. Right.
So
yeah, it's one of those things of like, you need to get down. It's one of those things of like, what are you doing? Hold on. I'm gonna give him some crystals to play with.
Oh, good. Yay.
He loves my special rocks.
Rocks.
Yeah, my special rocks. But yeah, that's one of the things I've like thought about many times is, the whole agenda of the dark side is to depopulate the world so that there's less people to control so that they can control more. And of course, they have kind of targeted women because we're the ones that create more people.
Yeah.
So of course they've seen that, and they've taken our power away much more than they've, taken the man's power away. And they've stripped men of masculinity. They've stripped women of their feminine, power, because I was just like thinking about it the other day, and we are literally like so much more complex than men.
Yes, we are. Oh, for sure. For sure.
I don't know if you know of Alison Armstrong. She does a whole, she literally has spent 20 years studying men and just to understand them and to help women. And not in a feminist way or anything. She just genuinely wants to help people understand them. She's like, we are not the same. We are not the same at all.
Yeah.
We think of men as masculine women, and men think of women as
feminine men.
And we are completely different species, completely different. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, kind of thing. And she's just so the biggest misconception is thinking that a man thinks like you and a woman thinks like a man. Because we have so many different facets, attributes, our anatomy is different. There's a reason we're different. And it's so that we can come together and essentially be one together. Yeah. There's a woman is not higher than a man is not higher than a woman, for a purpose, because we're meant to divinely work together. And just kind of realizing that the more that I step into my role as a woman and essentially be a head of the house, because I feel I love the line in My Big Fat Greek Wedding you know, she like the girl is saying like, oh, but dad's the man of the house or the head of the house. And she's like, the man may be the head of the house, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the man any way she wants. And I was like, that is the perfect description of it.
I'll tell you a really funny story, and I hope I don't offend anybody on YouTube. If you have children watching right now, you might want to mute this for the story I'm about to tell you. I had a friend, I'm going to have to be careful about this because there's some words I can't say. I had a friend growing up in high school, and he was an only child. It was his parents and him. And he was telling, later in life, he was telling the story that he's probably like 14, 15 at the time. And it was after dinner, and his dad and him were tasked with the job of doing the dishes. And my friend was like all pissy about it. He was asking his dad, like, why can't mom do the dishes? And his father said to him, son, in a marriage, the woman owns 50% of the assets and 100% of the sex. He didn't say sex, he said a P word that I'm not going to say. But
that's so funny.
But yeah, and so yep, women can control that. Yeah.
Even my husband the other day was saying, he's like, I understand now that I have to earn it. I'm like, yes, you do. You sure do. I was like, it's taken 6 years, but I'm glad you finally realized that.
And we're married, but you still have to, which is so crazy because a lot of these like fundamentalist organizations, they don't believe in marital RAPE, which I think is absolutely a thing. You know, and I think if a man actually loves his wife, if she says no, he's going to respect that, you know, because the woman's body is very complicated and there's a lot that goes on every month with our body. And sometimes the body just can't do it. Just can't, there's something going on and it just can't, you know, it needs to recalibrate. So that's so funny. Your husband, gold star.
Gold star. I was like, you get points for that one. You earned it just for saying that.
Just by realizing that I control this.
It's more so, I mean, I've seen where when he says no too, I respect it too, kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I've always heard like, if you want to get things going, it starts at the beginning of the day. Like for a woman, it doesn't happen just right when you want it to happen. I always tell my husband, I don't have a button. I don't have a button. I'm like a mixing pot. You got to add the ingredients.
Well, no, when they say men are microwaves, women are ovens.
There you go. Yep. I got to get heated up first.
Yes, there's some preheating that's going to happen.
Seriously.
So I'm glad your husband figured that out. I think, you know, and I'm blessed guy. I mean, I know there are a lot of men out there that are so awesome and totally respect their wives and their daughters too, because the more a man respects his wife and shows that, his daughters will then learn how to be treated in a relationship. And same thing for little boys, when they see their fathers respecting their mothers, then they know how to respect a woman out in the world as well when it's that time for them to start to take a partner. So so
I love the fact that I've had a boy, because I'm like, I hope that I can teach him how the way that I'm thinking, you know, the way that I'm trying to live, you know. I hope that you know, I hope that I'm being an example and my husband's being an example enough to make him different. You know,
to understand women as not, you know, to be sensitive towards women. Because I know there are a lot. I mean, we've talked about, I mean, you're familiar with the IBLP, right, Liz? Let's see if I can pull it up here. Institute and Basic Life Principles.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's see.
I don't know if I know what it's called. Maybe I know.
It's the Bill Gothard. So I'm going to share screen. I'm going to see if I could. You guys know like the whole Josh Duggar thing where he was convicted of, but they treat women like women. I mean, we've been breaking this down. Here it is. This is what I want to show you. So they believe that there's Christ and then the husband, the wife, and the children, but literally like the wife can only have a relationship with God through the husband. So it basically means that a wife is not really a whole person.
The husband is basically their priest.
Exactly. And therefore they have to be subservient to the husband. And we've been breaking down a lot of the fundamentalist stuff on David Zublick's channel. And I'm hoping that, I know this is all cabal orchestrated.
Yeah, for sure.
All these worksheets they do. If a woman is RAPE, it's her fault. What did she do to tempt him? All that kind of stuff. So, and that's
what like purity culture.
Exactly. Well, it's very purity culture. And so they dress like the women. I mean, you can dress conservative if you want to, but even like the shirt I'm wearing, which is one of Liz's shirts. We're going to talk about her shop in a minute. This is obviously, though I cut my shirts, but you know, for me to wear something like this, for them would be considered scandalous, where how I grew up, this was just normal. You know, if you can't handle single woman's shoulders, then that there's something wrong with you.
Seriously.
Because we all got shoulders. And I'm sorry, I only find shoulders to be sexy if I'm actually sexually attracted to the person that has them.
Right, exactly.
And for women, I think like for me, for women, I mean, I have a type. I definitely have a type. I've always liked men who are older than me. Like 10, 15 years older than me. I'm like you, but I definitely have a type. But it's more about the attraction to that personality, where men, I guess, are more visual too. But but I do hope and pray that because I do believe that the storm really is the rise of the divine feminine.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, what happens when women get mad?
Oh, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
There you go. Exactly. That is the storm.
And women are able to multitask better than men. I mean, I remember my mother saying that when we were little kids, like she would explain, like when my dad would be reading the newspaper and she would try to talk to him, he wouldn't hear her. And my mom was like, you know, for men, it's not that he's ignoring me. It's like they can only focus on one thing, where women are able to do multiple things at one time.
They're the hunters, we're the gatherers.
Yep. For sure.
Like, because you have everything all at once. They're just focused
one thing at a time. Yeah. Which can be hard for women, I think, when you have multiple tabs in your head and you're dealing with a lot of stuff at one time. But I think that rise of that divine feminine, and we look at like even like the school situations. Who are the people fighting back? It's the mothers.
Right, exactly. I mean, well, I think -48 actually said this. Like the reason why they tried to get women out of the church, you know, and continue to try to shut women down in the church is because they would never be able to do what they're doing to children, or you probably have to bleep that out. They would never be able to do what they have to do to young people if women were fully involved and had a say in the church. Like, there's no way like a mother would let anyone do that to their children. No way.
I mean, even I'm an aunt, and I will tell you right now, like with my nephew and my nieces, I would give my life for them.
Yeah.
I would give my life for them. And so I think women do. I mean, I know men do have a paternal instinct as well, but I know women do have a more, even women who haven't had a child yet still kind of have that awareness. Like if I was, you know, I live right in the middle of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm right in Midtown. So I see skyscrapers. I can't even see the sky. But if I were to walk out with men, like males around me, and there was a child, let's say there was a child just running around by himself, I would probably be the first one to realize that the child didn't have its mother before the men. Because I think women are just naturally programmed by nature, by God, not by the matrix, but by God, to have kind of this motherly, all-encompassing
eyes in the back of our head kind of thing.
Yes, you always notice when there's a child and you're always kind of looking out. Whereas I think men would notice, but I think a woman would notice first.
Honestly, that's also, I think, kind of a cultural thing, because my husband, he's from Mozambique, and in that culture, you know, you're in a village and everyone in the village takes care of everyone. Like everybody's in each other's business, and, you know, like it's very much like community oriented. And he notices things before I do, like with people in general. And I'm like, because like we've been taught to stay out of their business, you know, like we're separate, like don't get in their business, like it's rude, whatever. But if someone's literally like looks like they're struggling, he'll go and ask them if they need help, you know, and it's like I don't even notice it. Or, you know, he'll see like a woman's trying to do something with her child and it's too heavy. Like that happened the other day. And he was like, you want me to help you get that down? You know? And I think that's my husband. I've never really realized how like divine masculine he is, you know, and that's why I've realized that the more I am like focusing and acting out of divine feminine, he very much can be who he's supposed to be too. And I just like, I let him do it. Like I never am like, oh, leave him alone, you know, oh no, don't worry about it. I was just like, he wants to do something, I'll just let him do it. Cause that's part of the divine masculine is protecting. Mm-hmm. And so he's always looking for who he can help and protect and serve essentially. And it's beautiful. That's one of the reasons I married him, because I noticed that about him, because he noticed things that I never did. I mean, even with kids, like we're at the playground, he sees a kid like struggling, he'll go and just move them, like put them where they're supposed to be. You know, he acts like it's his responsibility. And I'm like, I do that too, but like I notice it more when he does it because I don't see other men do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very much a cultural thing that like has been worked out of us for generations, but in a it's a third world country, so it's not westernized at all. And
one of my favorite threads I saw on Twitter a few days ago, it was all these girl dads whose daughters had gotten like makeup for Christmas.
Yeah.
And used their dads as their testing, and they had like this chain of pictures of all these men with like just makeup all over their face from their like 3-4-year-old girls. And it was like girl dad. And I just thought that if for a man to be able to do that, like my brother-in-law is really good about that with my two nieces. My one niece is still a baby, but he will sit and like play girl games with my niece.
Yeah.
And my niece is very comfortable telling her dad who she has a crush on.
No,
like, it's so funny. My sister
would like the safety of it. It's so.
She will tell her dad like what boy she's got a crush on, and it's like my sister's like, we never would have done that growing up. We would never told our dad those things, you know. Yeah. But the fact that my Jacqueline will just tell my brother-in-law like what boy she likes. She's 7, so you know how far can that relationship go? Right. But you know, it's just so funny that she feels that comfortable with her father to be able. But he nourished that.
Yeah. When I met my husband, he had a pink thumb. He had pink nail polish on his thumb from a little girl painting his nail.
Oh,
so cute. And he didn't try to take it off. It just was on there for like a week or so, and it just eventually came off and chipped.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's so many things that I didn't realize were, you know, I didn't have a language for what I know now about him. And, you know, it's totally the reasons that I married him, because I like saw further into the future, essentially. And I was like, I need to learn from this man. I don't know what this is, but I need to learn.
Well, you know, I think that's what it's going to look like moving forward into the Age of Aquarius, when we totally ascend into this new reality that the dynamic between men and women are going to be more natural and not this controlled matrix projection of suppressing one in order to lift the other. And I think we're going to start to figure out, just by letting go and letting our own natural instincts take in, how that's going to look between men and women. Because as a woman, Cindy and I spoke about this as well. As a woman, you know, I have my own channel. I'm the only authorized Ashtanga teacher in the state of Georgia who's a female. You know, I've done a lot for myself as far as like career-wise, but I still, you know, I want to be held at night. I still want to feel that security. Right. So it's finding that like balance between, you know, you can be, as a woman with this new world, we can be what our dharma is, what we're supposed to do as far as work, but we can also be a mother and be protected as well. And I think women are more complex because of that, because we have these different outlets of who we are, these different layers to who we are as women, that naturally makes us more complex than men in a lot of ways. You know, I don't think a man could handle a period. Do you?
No, not at all.
I mean, men can't even handle a cold. It's the man flu, right?
Yeah, like, literally, I had a fever last week, the beginning of last week. I had a fever for it was only just like a night, like the afternoon times throughout the night. And then the next morning, I had still a high temperature, but it wasn't fever. I shampooed all the carpets in the house. I like organized things. I like went around in different shops, like trying to help my husband find something. And it was just like, it's like, are you going to do this when you have a fever? He ended up having a fever. And the fact that he saw me doing stuff through it, he wasn't as much of a baby about it, which I was like, okay, well, thank God. But
I think every single man I've ever dated, every single one of them is a baby when it comes to getting sick. And I'm like, you could not handle cramps. Like, I'm sorry.
No.
Like we get cramps and we have to pop some ibuprofen or Midol or whatever. I'll tell you a funny story though. When I lived in Los Angeles, one of my friends, a girlfriend, or they're a couple friend, a girl and a guy. And there was this one day where her boyfriend had a really bad headache and all she had on her was Midol. And she was like, dude, all I have is Midol. If you want to take it, it can help. It's got like stuff in it. And he was like, oh, that's period medicine. But she's like, just take it. He took it and it worked so well that he went and got himself Midol just for headaches.
Amazing. That kind of reminds me in the movie She's the Man, where they put a tampon up their nose to stop nose bleeding.
Yeah.
And then she finds her roommate that's a guy doing it. And she's like, what are you doing?
He's like, stop
it works really well. So funny.
I mean, I just don't even, because I used to get really bad cramps like that. Sorry, guys, if this is TMI, but in my 20s, I got really, really bad cramps. My cramps aren't as bad now. And I think it's because I follow the Ayurvedic cycling of ladies' holiday and all that kind of stuff. I've spoken about that from time to time. But there are, sometimes cramps can be debilitating. And women still go about their day and do what's got to get done with those cramps. And and I know we were talking before we got on that a lot of times these cramps are because we have too much toxins in our system. And it's funny because years ago I was the head of yoga for this wellness center, and there was within the wellness center there was different faculties of healing arts, and there was a Chinese medicine doctor that worked there, and he would do cupping on me, and he would tell me all the time that I wasn't supposed to get cramps. Like every time I would get cramps, he'd be like, that's not normal. Women are not supposed to have this much of a reaction to their cycle.
Yeah.
We have been conditioned to believe that was normal. Like my mother used to say that cramps were just preparing us for childbirth one day. You know?
Seriously.
But
it's simulating it. That's what the simulation is. But it shouldn't. Your body shouldn't have to force so much because it's not a baby. So
no, and it happens once a month. So that's really sucks. And 12 times a year, you're in this like debilitating state. But you were telling me before I got on that you did a detox.
Yeah, so it's actually something that Charlie promotes on his Telegram all the time. It's the Touchstone Essentials. It's a parasite, gut, and heavy metal detox. Oh, wait, I actually have it right here. That's handy. It's this, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is the heavy metal detox. So it tastes like water, but it's a mineral, and you just spray it like 3 times a day. And then this is made from volcanic ash. And you take just do 3 drops 3 times a day, like barely anything. And yeah, this is my 3rd month of doing it. And because I was sick while I was in England, I wasn't eating like any sugar or anything because I was trying to get better before I got on a 10-hour plane ride again. And so it like really worked for me because the less sugar and kind of like processed carbs and stuff like that you eat, the better, because that's what parasites feed off of. And your body doesn't have to work so hard to detox when you don't put toxins in your body. So it worked really well. And I actually had my period and didn't have any cramps, any symptoms. I was a little sad, emotional, a little more emotional than normal, but I thought that was just from traveling with a toddler. But then I ended up having my period and I felt nothing. And I was like, what? Yeah. Okay. But then I was also telling Brice earlier that it lasted longer than it was supposed to. And I think that was from I don't know if I can say the word. But the result of people getting this. And because it stopped as soon as I got home and started drinking some dandelion tea. But I've joined a Telegram group of this girl that knows all about it. And she'll tell you anything you need to know. She'll give you a discount code. She's super helpful, and she's totally not in it for anything but just help people.
Send me her link and I'll put it in the description box.
Okay.
There was one time, so I did this, and I'll do this from time to time now with health for it's called intestinal movement formula. And sorry guys if this sounds a little bit too TMI, but with our colon, sometimes things get stuck and like harden up in our colon, and they stay there for years. And so this intestinal movement formula I did years ago, I started doing it, and it knocked me out. Like it completely just like, when I first started detoxing, like I remember I went into AYA where I was assisting at that point, and I was so wrecked that I had to go into the office and like lay on the floor. But this stuff I mean, you can't take this stuff and like, you have to be close to a bathroom basically. But when I did a huge detox with intestinal movement formula from Health Force, I had the same thing. I was traveling and I got my period, but I had no symptoms, like none. Like no bloating, no cramps, no headaches, nothing. I just went to the bathroom and I was like, what? And now I keep track on my phone, so I can't be surprised like that again. But but it was the intestinal movement formula. It had cleaned so much out of my system that I didn't have, and in that cycle, I had no notification to me that I was, and I follow full moon, and my cycle is like every like 30 to 35 days. So I'm not on a 27-day cycle. And I know that now, but this is what I did. So I get that. So I understand like what you're saying, like all this stuff, like, oh, when you're used to having like so many, like usually before that I would get like major cramps, and then like 2 hours later I would, so sorry for men who are watching this, but
girl, I could talk all day long about detoxes because they seriously change your life. I used to do a similar one. I haven't done it since I've been pregnant and had my son because I've been breastfeeding. But it's a liver and gallbladder detox. And I think it's what actually helped me get pregnant, because I lost like a ton of weight and just had so much better digestion, and just from cleaning out my liver, because honestly, like your liver is a huge organ. I think it's the biggest organ. And it's your body's trash can. And if you never clean it out, it's just going to go out into the rest of your body.
I agree.
So
I did the same thing a few years after I did intestinal movement formula. I did the same company's liver rescue. And guys, I'm not a part of this company. I'm not promoting this because I get no kickback. I just really like these products. And
same with this, I don't get anything from this either.
This is just like, I use this stuff. Like I don't work for them. We get nothing. So I was told, so I'm not a big drinker. Like I'll drink. I'm not a non-drinker. I will drink on holidays and special occasions. And I drank a lot when I was in my 20s. When I lived in Los Angeles, I probably drank more daily then. But when I started going to India and I really started to adapt to a more disciplined yoga practice, getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, doing a heavy duty practice and then teaching, I just can't drink. So when it was suggested for me to do a liver detox, I thought it was crazy. I was like, my liver's fine. I don't need to do a liver detox. But holy shit, you guys, I kid you not. When I started doing this liver rescue, holy crap, I went through a whole new like purging. So I think Elizabeth is right. Like your liver needs to be cleaned, because it takes in everything. So absolutely.
And that detox that I do is completely safe for any stage of life, like for women, like, or in men, but like you can take it while you're pregnant, you can take it while you're breastfeeding. It won't harm anything. And one of the reasons I started doing it is because I did some research about why miscarriages can happen. I'm not saying that this is exactly what happened, because you just never know, especially how early mine was. But a lot of research is starting to come up that miscarriages happen from heavy metals and parasites. And so I was like, I am on it. Like, I am going to detox any way that I can from both things. I don't care how much it costs, because after you go through something like that, you would never wish it upon anyone.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely.
And, I'm thankful that it wasn't like a further along miscarriage. It was very early, like 6 or 7 weeks, but I just kind of never saw it coming. Cause I am a healthy person. Like I don't do anything that like would typically cause something like that. But even on a spiritual side, I kind of felt like, I mean, this is very personal, but I'm a very open book. I kind of like, when it happened, you know, like I was grieving and devastated, and I like felt like I went into what I would consider like my garden. And it's just this place spiritually that I go, and kind of learn things and whatever. And I actually went there before I found out I was pregnant with Levi, and saw Levi coming into me, and didn't know I was pregnant then. So I went there and like talked to the spirit of the baby that I had, and I was like, why did you not stay? And she was like, that body wasn't right for me, mommy. And I was like, okay. Like, it was like, it doesn't make it any better, but it definitely, you know, gives me a reason, you know. And I kind of feel like because I felt like it was a girl, I named her Evelette because it means one that's made of light. But I feel like she'll come back when
I do too.
she's supposed to.
I do too.
And it was one of those things that I never heard anybody talk about, like that kind of thing of like, you know, it just not being the right body for a spirit. And like literally like her choosing to be in a better body, you know, possibly just because maybe I couldn't have handled it. Because I mean, I don't know, like I like you know, the beautiful special needs kids and everything, but I don't know if I personally would have been able to handle it if it were a situation like that. And I would, you know, it's like I trust her. I trust that spirit.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've thought about that a lot when people have miscarriages. I know a lot of people have miscarriages, and I've thought about that. And I'm glad you said that, because I've never said it out loud, because I've never, to my knowledge, I've never been pregnant. So, but I do think sometimes maybe the child or the spirit, because it's not really a child at that point, it's more spirit, goes, this body's not going to work for my mission. Abort mission. Let me pull back a little bit and wait for the new body. I'll wait for the new.
And honestly, like the amount that I've learned and grown in the last 4 months or so, and maybe, it's been like 4 months. I can see, like, I never wish it upon anybody, but I can see where it's been a part of my journey. Like it was supposed to be like this in the sense, because of how much I've grown and how much I needed to go through all of that to be a better mother and a better person in general. And just like what the tower moment thing. Like, I don't know if I would have had that if I hadn't gone through that, you know.
That could have been your soul agreement before you took your life, before your child, that she would do that for you. She would.
Well, even her soul agreement in the sense of she's going to come and go and then come back, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny. I had a friend once that told me that she could see, like, when a woman was about to get pregnant, because she would see the spirit around.
I can see it too. I know there's someone else there. Every time I can see it through Instagram pictures.
Really?
It's crazy. I don't know what kind of sense it is.
Well, I have a question for you. So I have a question for you. Do you see a spirit around me? No, I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. No, let's stop that rumor. I know, but I've been told. So a few years ago, my friend did a reading with me, and it came up that I had a daughter that needed to come through. And then recently, through the shit that
Okay. Yes. So I have seen, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like there's something there. And I feel like it's gotten more powerful recently. Because I think I told you, I was like, it has. I've noticed that you've like also kind of leveled up in a sense.
Yeah, oh no, for sure.
I feel like
my tower moment came around the same time your tower moment came through also.
But I was just like, I noticed a shift in you recently. Like, and I also, like, when I first met you, I was kind of like, I feel like she has children. Like, where are you? You know?
Well, okay,
I didn't know anything about you at that point, but
this is what's strange, and I didn't even plan on talking about this, but my friend would tell me that she could see, like, I know I'm supposed to have a daughter and a son. A daughter will probably come first. And the reason why I know that, so I'm going to be 39 in a few weeks. Like, I'm not, according to like the Matrix, I'm not of the age where I should have already had children by now, even though I can still get pregnant. My period is still, I'm still fertile. But I got to this point, you know, my life up to this point, I've been traveling back and forth to India. I just have not had the most conventional life. And so I kind of figured that maybe children, I just kind of got to that point where I was like, well, if it happens, it happens. But I wanted kids at one point, but you know, it just never happened. I was like, well, I love my niece and nephew. Like I love being an aunt. Like that's all that's there for me. That's totally fine. Well, then I did this reading with my friend a couple of years ago before all of this fiasco. It was before my channel started, actually, because my channel came up in the reading as well. My friend kept saying, you have high psychic abilities. You're very, very gifted. And you are supposed to have a daughter that will also inherit these abilities. And she kept saying that to me in this reading. And I was like, nah, you know. But then when I had the person using my natal chart, when I entered that dark night of the soul where I literally couldn't eat, and I was then shown kind of my soul agreement. And I know my children are going to come after the flip. So after everything flips, if that makes sense, and I know that our lifespan is going to be extended out. So we're going to be living longer than we are now. So technically I'm still young to have.
I mean, I think it's total, like we should be able to have children for as long as we want. I honestly think.
Yeah.
And I even know a 6-year-old woman. What, baby? You want a mango? I know a 6-year-old woman that's been a missionary for like most of her life and lived in other countries where they're not as toxic and polluted and whatnot. And she has had like 12 children, and her 12th child came when she was 60 and no complications, nothing. Like amazing. And so I very much think that it's, first of all, it's the mindset. And then second of all, it's, you know, our environment. And I feel like once our environment gets better,
it'll be easier.
It'll be easier. And I'm so excited when things aren't so rough on our bodies.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's the thing too. It's going to have to, and you know, it's so funny. I want to just specify that again, one more time. I am not pregnant. Okay. I'm not.
No rumors starting. No rumors.
No rumors. I'm not pregnant right now, guys. I'm absolutely not pregnant. I'm talking about.
You're pregnant with purpose.
With purpose. I have a fire inside of me. I'm talking about in the future. In the future. Yeah. I'm not pregnant. I'm not. So please do not start that rumor that I'm a child, because I am. One more time. I'm gonna probably put it on text to the screen. I am not pregnant. Okay. But I have an idea about. So I have an idea about when that's going to happen, though. I've been told like when to expect it. But anyway. So I just thought that was. I did not even plan on talking about that today, guys, at all. I just know that
we always go on rabbit trails.
It was like a girls' conversation. Like
I forget that we're even recording most of the time.
I know. Probably like, should I even cut this out? Because I do not want those rumors started. I do not want. Don't send me baby gifts. No, I'm not pregnant, guys. My stomach is flat right now. There's no babies in there. Like it's
maybe a food baby later on.
I had some toast this morning. That's about it. Like I'm not pregnant right now. I will let you guys know if the day comes that I get pregnant and it's past that time window. I will let you guys know. But that is not.
Yeah.
I'm not pregnant. Yeah. I'm not pregnant. Let's just 100%. I am not with child. I'm still just the cool aunt. I'm still just the cool aunt.
There you go.
So
ride that wave as long as you need to.
I'm still the cool aunt. So but it will be when we flip. And I think that there is some, but I've been feeling it's weird. Like I was talking to Stephanie last night about this. From you guys know Stephanie. Yeah. I feel like my body though is kind of starting to shift in ways that it might be preparing to eventually. I don't know. That sounds weird. It
definitely happens.
You know,
I mean, I think once you decide in your mind that you're ready, like you tell yourself you're ready, it happens. Like that's how it happened with Levi. Like it was like we moved into our house. We had the discussion that, you know, we would start trying 6 months and then we got pregnant.
Yeah. I have a feeling with what I understand is to come, which again, you know, the whole like dark night of the soul that I went through with my natal chart being used, really same thing.
I'd love to know about that.
I'll have to tell you all of it off camera because I can't talk about all of it. But it literally was like one of the most crushing experiences I've ever gone through physically more than emotionally. Because it literally, but because of it, I learned a lot about who I am, who I've been in past lives, because there was a reason why my natal chart was being used. And I know why that reason is now and why they're still trying to use it. And I'm still trying to like digest everything. But that's when it came out in this whole contract that I am supposed to have a little girl. And that baby is part of the new timeline. And there's a bunch of it's weird to explain, but what they're trying to do is stop those children from coming.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird. And I'm still trying to like wrap my head around it as well. But that's kind of the gist of it. And when I found that out, I was like, oh shit. I was like, my friend said this about like years ago about a daughter, a girl that's supposed to come through me.
Yeah, so. I feel that the whole stopping them from coming, because I've heard a lot about this, like Levi's generation is called the Alpha generation. Just even in the name. I mean, like that's the coolest name for a generation ever. And I just feel like he is different. He is so evolved. I forget that he is not even 2 yet. I forget all the time. I feel like he is an old soul, and he is so happy and whole. And like just even the way like he interacts with everybody. Like I go to the playground, I see like some older kids and stuff. They just play with older kids, or they just play with kids. But he looks at everybody and tries to talk to everyone, adults, children, like younger and older than him, everyone. And I like noticed that other kids that are older aren't doing that. And I just feel like there's something so special about his generation and the ones that are coming.
Yeah.
You know, in the future.
They're coming already ascended, basically.
Yeah, like he just knows things, and I'm like so excited to learn from him. I'm trying to like stay in the place of like, you know, he has so much to teach me because I already know that because I've learned and grown so much just being a mother in general. But I feel like on another level. Yeah.
No, we're definitely. I think a lot of kids coming in are already kind of ascended. They're already kind of where we're going to be catching up to them almost. So it's wild.
I feel like I came in ascended, so I can't even imagine.
Taylor, my friend Taylor, who does shows with me, she always reminds me. She's like, "Girl, you've already ascended multiple times. You're fine. You're fine." I'm like, I wish I could remember. Yeah. So no, but it's. I mean, I tell you guys, the more we get closer to the end of this, we'll call it this transition, the wilder our story actually gets. The truth of who we are is so much more incredible than what they've told us we are. And it's beautiful. And I'm so happy you're back today. Oh, guys, again, so this is, Liz, you're going to be doing tank tops soon, right?
Yes, I actually put a few new things on my shop, and I've done the whole revamp of it. It looks so much better and so pretty. So I'm excited about that. But I'll do tank tops. I've gotten more color options for sweatshirts and my shirts in general. I'm going to do phone cases.
Fun. Do you have any cool sayings you're going to put on your
not yet. I think I'm going to use a few of the ones that are already on the t-shirts and stuff. But I love phone cases. I love different ones. Like this is mine right now. It's just flowery and pretty.
I'm trying to pull your shop up here. Sometimes Etsy has a hard time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Because you have such a cool shop. I know we've shown our people before all of. Am I signed in? Let me see here. Here we go. I found her. Here we go. Is it going to let me take me? Let's see. Let me go over to the Etsy shop here to show you guys. If you haven't seen Elizabeth's shop, I have so many of her t-shirts, and one of my favorite sweatshirts now, it's in the wash right now because I've been wearing it so much. Let's see, how do I get here? Is it letting me take you? How is this working? I might have to cut
just go back. What are you looking for? Go down.
Just pull your shop up.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Is it? Oh, this is, oh, perfect. Sorry. I was having
it looks totally different.
Almost 40-year-old moment there in the old matrix. Yeah, guys, this is like, I love her stuff so much. I have so many of your t-shirts. I have this, but in the off-white color. I love it. Born for a time as this.
Yeah, you are actually the last person that got that because they discontinued that style. So.
Oh, really? Lucky me.
Yeah.
So I love it. I mean, I literally, when I got it in the mail, I literally, finally I was like, I need to wash this because I've been wearing it all the time. So, oh, you got beanies. There's a Born for beanie. That's awesome. You guys, you have some kids stuff too, right? She's got herself muted. So guys, yeah, come to her shop. I mean, look at all this stuff. She's designed all these t-shirts. This is the one I have on right now, but I've actually cut mine because you guys know I cut all of my t-shirts. And this is the kids one right here. So you got kids sweatshirts as well. Amazing. Oh, you're doing custom design orders too. That's so cool. I want to make a t-shirt that says, I know an Adam's apple when I see one.
That's amazing.
I know an Adam's apple when I see one.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so you guys go. I'm gonna put a link to her shop down in the description box as well for you guys. And will you send me like the Telegram channel with the detox stuff as well, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put her TikTok as well as a link to her YouTube channel. So you guys go over and subscribe to her because Elizabeth, you have taken so many blows. I've been kicked off of Instagram like once, but you have taken so many blows for sharing.
Yeah, it's I mean, it got, especially around the time that the miscarriage was happening, I was just like, oh my God.
I can't do
not another thing. Like, I'm just going to kind of pause and just promote other people and, just kind of take a break.
Step back. But sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes it's necessary,
But I'm back.
What somebody said, sometimes it's necessary to step into the med tent. Sometimes you need to take a little break. This is one of the big undertakings we've all been through. And I mean, we all need each other. We're seeing that. One of my favorite quotes again is we're all just walking each other home. We all have to do it together. And so when one of our fellow soldiers has to take a few minutes in the med tent, then we huddle around and let them do that so they can get their strength back. And look at what a badass came back out of that med tent.
Yeah. So, I mean, I always intended to come back, but I didn't know when, and I didn't know it would be this quickly. I honestly just feel like even with that detox, I feel like it helped me so much because like cleaning out your gut is like where all your serotonin comes from, or like 95% of it. And I feel like that was a huge part of it. But also just things just shifted, and I feel like I'm so excited for what's to come.
Me too.
I just feel like I feel so much more hopeful and like it's actually happening. And I feel like, I felt that before, but not in this way. And I feel like it's kind of like a collective, people are kind of feeling that way. Like this is going to be over soon. Like we're actually going to.
It has to be. It has to be. We can't go much further. So just got to hold on. We just got to hold on to each other because it's going to get bumpier, guys. There's going to be, the devil's not going to leave. And I don't know if you've seen Elizabeth, but I am under the impression that we are actually in the post-apocalypse right now. And this is the actual final battle.
I have heard you say that. Yeah. I could see that. For sure.
We've been, off camera with my girls and I have been researching more, and it just appears that with all the manipulations we know in the Bible, that it looks like we are actually at the final, and that makes more sense because that means we're going to ascend, and that also means that the devil isn't going to give up. The devil's not just going to be like, oh shucks, and like walk away.
Right.
He's going to fight until the bitter end. And so we got to hold on.
In a way, timelines always exist. Every timeline still exists. So, what the Bible says is going to happen exists somewhere, but I don't plan to be there.
No.
Like in how it's interpreted in that way of like doom and gloom or whatever. It exists somewhere, but I don't.
We're going to ascend. We're going to go into that fourth density planet positive. So
there you go. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, again, I'm going to put all those links down in the description box below. I'm so happy Liz is back, and we're going to be planning some round tables and stuff with Liz again and get her back out there. So please go and subscribe to her channel as well. The more people we have out there, again, for us on this side, I'm not a numbers person. I don't ever really like focus on the numbers. But the reason why we want to get people subscribed to her is because the more subscriptions that she has, the more her stuff is going to get pushed out. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push out people's information, because the more people we have on YouTube that's pushing things out, the more easier this is going to get to win. So, and
with videos like this, if one of our sites gets taken down, at least the video will still be there on someone else's.
Exactly. All right, I'm so excited you're here today, Liz. I'm so happy to see you back. I was keeping up with you while you were in London or England with your sister, and I'm so happy you're back stateside now. And in snowy Tennessee, it snowed for you guys, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, the first week of January, it was just full of snow. It was crazy. I can only handle snow like a day, so I was a little bit over it. But
we haven't. I mean, I don't even own gloves, so I don't even own a pair of gloves. So I hear you, sister. All right, Liz. Well, I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. We hope you're having a wonderful day. Keep your head held high. Hold the line. We got this, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.